Hello, welcome back, guys, to the Trickway. Who's this guy? That's Mr. Grey, as always, wearing a t-shirt, and I'm not. I'm bad. I'm wearing football
Shirt
stuff instead.
and cup.
And, oh my god, he's a double whammy. I'm a disgrace. I am a disgrace, I apologise. But we have matching kind of pictures, almost. Themed.
Yes, that's right.
Two Defiants coming right for you. Ray Shields, quick. Yeah, sorry.
Defiance could do some damage.
Exactly. So we're going to do a special today. We're trying to just talk all things Star Trek until Discovery Season 5 in April. Have we got a confirmed actual date for it yet, Gray? We don't, do we?
Just they keep saying April. That's all.
Man,
It's gonna be unfortunately with the way business is going, like we talked on our last special. I mean, aside from what's coming in April, we don't know when anything else is coming out. We know what they're working on, but we don't know, anything. I don't think we're gonna see Strange New World season 3 until like summer. So I got at least 5 months or more, to that. And then in between, the movie probably won't be till summer or after that. So it's not gonna be a lot of Trek. We're gonna have to watch reruns.
Well, they were talking, Gray, about. Remember that Paramount, this is the whole thing, right? Paramount are obviously very skint broke at the moment, right?
Very skint,
and
yeah.
and we can talk briefly about that, but it's more of a. I just realised, look, I've got my background on, but if you look where my hat is in between, it's like a secret portal to the back of my flat.
That is interesting.
Look.
Funny.
There's
Yeah.
the whiskey. There's the whiskey. There's the booze.
Very interesting. What's the white hat doing it? Who knows?
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, it's more of a Gray's Green Room subject where we rant about the entertainment industry. I would certainly say, Gray, we don't want to turn into Doomcock Part 2 because he's the ranter about the entertainment industry. We do that a bit, and we also cover other TV shows and movies, but we're hoping to get special in at the end of this month. Life gets in the way. I apologise.
All the time.
Yeah, it sucks. But yeah, Paramount they are going to limit what they're bringing out Star Trek wise because they're a little bit broke. They're many billions in the red, and there is strong rumours that Warner Brothers are going to not buy them over but merge with them, because Warner Brothers are skint as well, but they're looking at the bigger picture, aren't they? They're like, okay, if we can raise some funds this way to pay for Paramount and combine it together, we're a lot more powerful. And there's a lot more behind it, which obviously discuss on Gray's show, but that means they can only put out probably 3 Star Trek shows a year as opposed to the 5 they'd done before. And one of them was always the animated series, Gray. So we know Prodigy's on Netflix, and hopefully we get the season 2 of that, which is done now, before this year's out. But we have then 2 live action, and Lord X is still going. I might even be signed up for another season after. It's one of their gems.
Actually, I think Lower Decks is coming this summer.
Yeah, but that's season
that would be
5, 4, 5.
Now I'm trying to think. It's 4 or 5. Like
One of them. But I think they're signed up for one more season after that because it's. I'm not saying it's a cheap show to make, Gray, but it's set in stone. It's cheaper than the live action stuff, and it's a set cost every time because it doesn't change.
Exactly.
So there's our 3 shows. We have got the last season of Discovery coming, and then I think we will get Lower Decks probably the end of summer, mate. And then I don't think we'll get Strange New Worlds this year, season 3. If we do it by the end of the year,
It'll be the end, yeah. But in between, Prodigy will probably come out before.
yes.
So we'll probably have 3 different Trek shows across maybe April to October, November.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I would say so.
it wouldn't be too bad. That'd be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we said before that we were spoiled in terms of the amount of Trek content we're getting. How good of quality it was, Gray, is another thing. But at least we were getting 5 shows, and I knew that was too much. So, yeah. But the reason we wanted to come on today and have a little chat was not necessarily just about the future of Trek, although that's part of it, but some ideas possibly about what the future would hold. Now, obviously Legacy is a we discussed this in the last show, Gray, and it's something that's more likely to happen than not likely to happen. I don't believe the rumors that say that it's dead. They know the fans want it, but they don't have the budget or time for another show. So one has to be sacrificed. I've got a question for you, Gray, before we talk about what ideas we have for shows. Strange New Worlds, one hand, Legacy in the other. We can't have both. Would you rather Strange New Worlds went on for another season, say a fourth season, or have Legacy? I've got my idea, but I want yours and why.
I would go Legacy because by that time, Strange New Worlds will have had 3 seasons or more, and that's enough. That's cool. Now I want to see Legacy, something new. So if I had a choice between Legacy being new and being some of the stuff that we want to see that they set up from Picard season 3, yeah, there's Legacy hands down, no problem.
Interesting.
Much as I like Strange New Worlds, I would still. And now, if Strange New Worlds hadn't even aired, then it would be a kind of a rough decision between the two. But since it's got a bunch of episodes and it will by that time, Legacy comes around. If it does, then yeah, it would be Legacy.
So
I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, Legacy, but everything we've been hearing and article after article coming out and reading, and it looks pretty grim. For it to come out anytime soon, and I'm thinking that if it does, first of all, I'm pretty sure that Legacy is definitely a victim of the money that they lost. If they reach some kind of deal, or somebody buys Paramount, or they merge. Remember, mergers aren't so bad either because then they share the cost 50-50. So if that were to happen, then I would say Legacy's definitely they're gonna greenlight it or push it. But the problem is with those kind of deals on who buys who, it could take months. It could take a year. So that means we wouldn't see Legacy till like if we're really lucky, 2025, more like 2026, 2027.
Yeah.
It just stinks, but
you have your what's the organization in the States that is the regulator for mergers and acquisitions and stuff? The
FCC.
FCC, that's it. So it'd have to go through them. And bear in mind, you've got to think of the companies the size. Paramount are huge. Warner Brothers are huge. Warner Brothers may be one of, if not the biggest in terms of overall footprint, revenue, studio space that they've got. Two of them merged together, they might look at it and go, is this going to harm competition because we're taking 2 players out, massive players off the board, and replace it with one? They'll be the biggest. That'll be the biggest media company.
But overall, not bigger than Disney. Despite
that's true.
Losing, Disney's always the number one. But I don't think they'll do that over here because there's enough competition going on from lots of other studios that they probably wouldn't stand in the way of that.
Yeah,
no, I don't think so. So, but we've been hearing the strong rumors that they're going to be bought for at least a few months now. So, but it still hasn't happened.
I heard it was rumored to be $30 billion, Gray, which sounds cheap, but I think 15 of that was supposed to go towards Paramount, and 15 billion of that was supposed to go towards paying off their debts. So really, and then they've still got the studio space as well, and then there's Paramount Plus. It's a big mess, man, but I think it'll happen.
They want it sold, but they're not so stupid that they can't wait for the right deal. So they're going to wait a little bit for the right kind of deal to come by, and then when they do, they'll pull the trigger. You'll see it.
See the Legacy question I asked you, right? Between Legacy and Strange New Worlds, you have got a tiny flavour of what Legacy will be like, but no one's seen it because it doesn't exist. But you have seen Strange New Worlds, and we like that. That is good Trek. So I'm surprised you went quite into the deep end with Legacy.
I want them both, but if I was stuck with an either or situation, again, it's predicated on the fact that they'll have finished 3 seasons of Strange New Worlds, so I'm happy. Let's give Legacy a chance. But if it was the 2 of them and no episodes have aired, that would be rough. That would be a rough one to try to decide. I probably would lean towards Legacy, but it would be a rough one. But luckily, we don't have to face that kind of decision. So
Yeah,
good.
very true. I think it will happen because they know the fans want it. It's just about the money and then getting Scene of God is available, aka Terry Matalas, because he's a busy, talented man, and if it's
He's
going to be,
he's.
Mhm.
I got a bad feeling that if he has a chance to squeeze it in his schedule, most certainly he will. But because he's so wanted now, he can just sit there and pick any job he wants almost. I mean, he's definitely wanted. So by the time they decide to do it, if he can't clear his schedule, it ain't gonna be him.
it, the,
So the
I,
only thing we can hope for is he's advisor, because an advisor doesn't have to put as much effort into it
that might
as
happen,
being
yeah.
yeah. So that would be better than nothing.
So he can turn around and go, Johnny, you're doing an absolutely crap job. No, you don't do that. I know you're second in charge of the Enterprise, but come on, man, no, you can't make that decision when you're making the show. No, I think the longer out Legacy is, the more chance Metalis will be involved, because talented, busy individuals like that are usually booked up way in advance, probably a minimum of a year, if not longer. So if it's 2-3 years, that the rumours were from, and you take them with a pinch of salt, of course, the sidetrack guy that I do follow online, who's supposed to have contacts in Hollywood, make of that what you will. He said that it's something they will look to be, just start looking like production wise at the very end of the year, if not the start of next year. And then that's before they properly casted people, wrote scripts. So yeah, it probably would be 2026 onwards. But hey, let's see.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we had some ideas of shows that we could maybe do if they were running out of content, unlikely in the Star Trek universe. And Gray had an idea of a remake, a redo, as we've got it down here, of what could happen in the future. What you want to tell us your idea, Gray?
Yeah, I mean, what I would really like to see is a new-ish version of Star Trek, the original series. Now, it wouldn't be Star Trek the original series because there's the original series, but there's so many adventures that that crew did that we don't know anything about. Not just the books that were written, although that's a good example. But there's a lot of stuff that they've been doing, that we've never seen. So it'd be kind of cool to take. I forgot the actor's name, but the guy that plays Captain Kirk now on a Strange New Worlds.
Pass, yeah.
Take him because he's already Kirk, and then come up with some new actors that can personify the roles of the original series, and then make, a Star Trek TOS kind of show that would show the next 5-year mission that they went on, and we would be able to have brand new shows with kind of like the old crew, sort of. And you would have your actors already in place because you would have the guy that plays Kirk. You would have the guy playing Spock. So there's 2 of them right there.
Ahura.
And then you can just Uhura. So that's 3. So already you've got half the crew. So when Strange New Worlds is ready to end, let's say after 4 or 5 seasons or something, you roll it right into and it makes perfect sense in the timeline because that is what happened. So it would be really cool to see, like, let's say, I don't know, the 5th season of Star Trek Strange New World, you see Pike hand it off to Kirk, and the couple people stay on the ship, so you have half the people there, and then you get a couple of new actors, and you're rolling. I think it'd be a natural segue, and I think it would be fabulous. I think a lot of fans would love to see that. I really do.
The problem I can think with that one is it's kind of in some ways Strange New Worlds being extended a little bit because there's similar kind of shows and ideas and timelines, and you couldn't have that and Legacy probably, as we discussed before. So then you might then say to me, Trevor, okay, Legacy then wins out if that's the case. However, if they remake the show, I really hope they never do a proper remake of TOS because
no, I don't. I don't want to
look at the Kelvinverse, man. The Kelvinverse was awful. I hated that. You didn't like it either. So it would be the same thing if we done it again just now.
Yeah, but I'm not looking for a remake in that sense. I'm looking more towards a further adventures, as I would call it.
Okay.
It's there. We just never seen it. So if they if they take that crew and mix in some new characters, we could it would have a going forward, it would have an up on a lot of things because people are going to tune in for the new original cast, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And you would have more people tuning into that to see it, and the series should have a different style or flavor than Strange New Worlds because Kirk is not Pike, as we know. So you could take it into a different direction, maybe somewhat more action oriented, not negating.
Oh, more pew pew. I'm up for that.
Yeah, I mean, but doing it right, because in the original series they had pew pew, but they had lots of intelligent shows too that didn't necessarily have a lot of pew pew. So you want to have both, and really that's opening it wide open right there. So I mean, if I was in control, I would be sitting there. Time to green light it. Go with it.
And I'll add to your idea, since we're just going on a roll. We know when we saw the Enterprise make an appearance again at the end of season 2 of Discovery, that was the highlight of all 5 years. So we haven't even seen the 5th season. It was the highlight. Sure. The hairs were standing on my neck when I saw the Enterprise coming in. That was just wow. I just wished I've forgotten her name, Michael Burnham. I hadn't announced it was Enterprise before we saw it because it took away a little bit of the shine. But when we saw it, we thought
it's USS Enterprise.
I was like, oh, come on, you just ruined the cliffhanger, woman. When it arrives, we see it and we're happy. We like the look of it for the most part because they still tried to make it flagship, state of the art, but making it kind of similar to the old one at the same time.
Right.
But it looks nothing like the one we get in TOS. So this is the perfect example in between Strange New Worlds and TOS, a continuing adventures or whatever we're calling it, right? That
you know what
we do the Enterprise.
Reminded me of something. Didn't mean to interrupt, but you brought up a good point about the ships. So imagine now if they did do a Star Trek TOS Further Adventures, right? Guess which Enterprise they would be using? They'd be using the refit or the A. So now we get a nice refit Enterprise or the A, either one's the same thing. And we get some of the characters we know, and we get some new people.
Great. That's where I was kind of alluding to. That's what I was getting. That was what I was saying. I was building up.
Stole your thunder. Sorry.
So, God damn it. So, no, you're right. You're right, though. It wouldn't
Everybody, I'm sorry. I never said any of that. It's all Trev.
Forget the last 30 seconds of your life. No, Gray is hitting the nail on the head, though. He stole the nail off of me, but, he did hit that nail regardless. That
did give you credit, though.
Taking that ship and getting it to where we see in TOS anyway, because they are... Now, at the very start of TOS, it is that grey kind of looking ship, right, which is fine. Yeah. And then the refit comes...
In a motion
picture. So right. I reckon... Now, here we go. How do we get from... Bear with me. How do we get from Strange New Worlds to this new show?
Well, I mean...
And then, because it's a refit, and then a refit, and then A. So, my head hurts.
I'm not sure. You're going to have to get some people that know how to write, first of all. So if they really think it, I think it can be done. It's just, and believe me, now that you and I have talked about this, that would make another way to get a lot of people to tune in. Because there's plenty of people that will tune in practically just for the ship, let alone everybody else. So now you got the right kind of crew, and at least new actors, but the right crew, so to speak. And then you get the refit, and it's like, wow, man, this is like everything I wanted, pretty much.
Where would you ideally place this show then, Gray? After Strange New Worlds, but before TOS, or TOS continuing onwards?
No, you would have to. You wouldn't be able to have. Now that I think about it, you and I have been talking. You can't really have Pike handed off to Kirk unless you did it at the end of Strange New Worlds, and then you time skip when Star Trek, the new TOS, we'll call it, is going to start. You would time skip to after the motion picture, or after at least Star Trek Wrath of Khan or whatever, and then follow their adventures from there.
Am I right in saying, Gray, that TOS when it started wasn't Kirk's first 5-year mission; it was his second. Or am I wrong? I don't know. I can't
They
remember.
never really said that, because when we first watched it, they just said it's 5-year mission. They didn't say anything about
Because
first, second,
if
third.
it's his second 5-year mission, you'd have the continuation of Strange New Worlds before. But realistically, I think if anything, it would be the TOS continuing Voyages before the motion picture, as you mentioned here. That would probably be the ideal time to place
Hey,
it.
look, I'll take it either way. I just think that if I really wanted my cake and eat it too, I would figure out a way to somehow move that into right after or motion picture, so you get the refit.
Yeah, I want the refit.
'Cause I just think that would just be fabulous if they could do that. So
It's a good
somehow you would, and you could also have maybe well, I mean, you could have in a way like the actor, again, I don't remember his name, playing Kirk. You could put a little makeup on and make him look a wee bit older, not
Yeah.
old,
Yeah.
but older. And obviously McCoy was already old-ish, so that would work. Uhura would look kind of young, but that's okay. That's not a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that, Gray.
Because Nichelle Nichols was pretty young anyway at that point, and stuff. So the more you and I talk about this in fantasy, talk about it, we both see how it would work, how it could work. And if you and I were the head of Paramount or whatever, we would be doing it because it just makes total sense. I mean, segueing Strange New Worlds right into the start of the new TOS that'd be fabulous.
Yeah, they have a couple of ideas to play with within that idea of, do we place the show before TOS or after TOS but before the motion picture? I think I'm leaning with the latter because we want to see the refit. And Gray's favourite starship is the refit stroke A because they're the same bloody ship. They just put an A on it. Yeah. and it's one of my favourites. The old school Enterprise is fine. It's, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
They done well for the technology they had back in the day, but I think the refit is the true Enterprise that Gene wanted with the technology that was available to them. So, stunning starship. And Gray had an article up actually recently. I'll maybe put it below, of why sci-fi ships are the shape they are, and specifically why the Enterprise is the way it is, the shape it is. And it's actually a pretty interesting article because the number one starship, when you think of a starship, you think of the Enterprise, and that's over the Millennium Falcon or anything else you can think of. That's up there, but the number one's got to be the Enterprise. So let's have a refit show. I would be happy with that. Age the characters up a bit, and I'm whetting my appetite here.
I think no matter what you think about your favorite starship, like we talked on a past episode, you're talking about iconic. So if you're looking at iconic ships, there's a fair dozen or whatever of iconic ships through history and stuff. But when somebody says starship, they immediately go right to the Enterprise. I mean, period. Then they start going like, oh, well, then there's also the blah, 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 blah. But they always go Enterprise. If somebody's going to show something, as long as they got the copyrights, okay, they drop in the Enterprise or they mention the Enterprise or something. It's just, and the thing that I think was so cool about when they designed, the original series, when it came on, there was no starship even close to resembling what the Enterprise looked like.
That's
so when
true.
people saw that, their jaw just dropped and said, whoa, what is this thing? That's true. Back then it was just everything was a flying saucer. And you think about it, almost everything was flying saucers all the time. It's always flying saucers. And when Lost in Space came out, the old one, the original one, back in the late '60s, what was it? A flying saucer.
Yeah.
Like, dude, can you think of any other ship?
And when he done the newer version of Lost in Space, it wasn't quite the saucer, but it was close. It was more similar to the original idea, of course. It looked obviously more futuristic. No, that's a good point, Gray. I would love to see that show. Will it happen? Probably not, because there's too many other things in the pipeline. But they know people like Strange New Worlds. The reaction to the new Kirk was pretty good. Yeah. I never want a remake of that, mate. A continuation is fine, or a prequel is fine.
No, you can't remake it. If you remake it, that's totally.
It's Kelvinverse again, which was average at best.
It's even worse because it's almost like Star Trek blasphemy. You can't do it. You just can't do it. Period.
You
So
can't do it, Captain.
Can't do it. That's right. I can't do it because you're Scottish. So you can get away with it.
Well, his
But
accent
I mean,
wasn't the best either.
continuation is
So.
logical. Oh, see, I sound like Spock now. Continuation is logical. I mean, it really is. No, I'm telling you right now. Mark our words. You and I talking about this right now. I bet you it may take 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 years. I don't know. I bet you're gonna see this happen. It just sounds just the right thing to do.
Well, you heard it from the Vulcan himself, so possibly. Now, the other idea that we have touched on briefly before, but we could delve into a little bit more. There's never a shortage of content in the Star Trek universe, Gray, right?
Certainly not for me and you.
Oh, no, exactly. Just hire us as No, do not hire us as writers. We will absolutely destroy and ruin the franchise forever. But for idea people and canon people, yeah, we can help with that.
Yep.
And I think, we mentioned this briefly before. If they need more content, they're doing the Star Trek movies at the moment, which I think is a brilliant idea. They're going to be doing one every 2 years, so it will have the budget of a few episodes together, but it'll be a long TV movie for a 2-hour movie for the streaming platform. And the first one, as we know, is going to be Section 31, which I can't bloody wait for. I think we'll probably get that the start of next year, I think they're saying. Maybe the end of this year, but certainly we're not seeing it anytime soon. Michelle Yeoh, brilliant. I'm up for that. I don't know the rest of the cast members. I don't have a clue. Looking forward to that one, though. But then the rumours are, and it's just rumours, that it might be the Picard movie afterwards, and that may link into Legacy. I mean, if it links into Legacy, fine. If it's done on its own, they're undermining the last season of Picard, which is going to ruin it. So be careful. But that's a good idea.
Remember, like we said last time, this is all Patrick Stewart's idea, and Patrick Stewart's idea killed season 1 and 2 of Picard. So,
yeah,
hello, he doesn't have a good track record.
Yeah, he was more hands-on. Gray touched on this before. He was more hands-on with season 1 and 2. He obviously thought he was the expert here, which is not. Stick to acting, and he should always have an influence. He should always be an executive producer, but just for ideas and nothing more. Season 1 and 2 were not great. Season 3, he still was executive producer, but Terry came in and went, right, I'm running it. I'll listen to your ideas, but I'm going to be the main man here, and you could tell the difference. So as long as he doesn't have too much input, it's fine.
I seriously, I still don't not want to see a Picard. I don't care if it spins in the Legacy or not. I don't want to see it. I would rather see Legacy start, and you can have a guest star, because Picard can be a guest star. Worf could be a guest star. Riker, anybody could be a guest star from TNG. Anybody. So
true.
Might as well pull out the guest stars to help the show in its first season, right? I mean, they did the same thing if you think about it way back in TNG when it first started. Who was in the first episode? You remember? It was Dr. McCoy. DeForest Kelly from the original series. He was in episode 1.
And they aged him up
They aged him up because he was 130 or whatever.
And he was saying a lot of, boy, you listen to me, boy.
Yeah. Because he was getting older, so he was reverting back to his old Southern style, whatever.
I liked that.
But that was classic, because I remember when I first saw that episode, because Star Trek was coming back, and I watched that first episode. I just went like, "Oh my God, Dr. McCoy! Oh my God! Oh my God!"
What was your sidetracking, of course, right now? Your not impression, but I guess you were excited equally for Scotty returning in that episode in TNG as well, just the same as you were with McCoy, yeah. Because
and Spock too, because Spock came back.
True, but he's a Vulcan and he's bloody ancient. Yeah,
true. But I didn't know we were going to see him.
Reunification. Part 1 and 2. That was brilliant. Oh, so good. But I think going forwards, I think we will end up getting a Picard movie, mate, because whether we like it or not, he's got a lot of pull and influence, Picard, Patrick Stewart, as long as he sticks to what he's good at, and that's just the acting. He has obviously enjoyed what he had in season 3, and he wants more of it, because everyone, including him, thought he was done. And he's went, I actually kind of enjoyed that. And remember, he wasn't really wanting the rest of the TNG crew for that. It was actually Terry Matalas that started pushing for that more.
It's wise.
It wasn't Patrick, and he's friends with him in real life, a lot of these people, but I've nothing against Patrick Stewart, right? But I think sometimes he thinks he's a Billy Big Bollocks, but what I mean by that is he kind of loves himself a little bit because of the...
He's got an ego to...
An ego, yeah. He's an actor, as my friend would say, not an actor, an actor, from the theatre background, so yeah, we'll see with that one.
The other reason I don't want to see a Picard movie is because season 3 was so good, and it ended in such the proper way that another movie with Picard with TNG people in it just seems way anticlimactic.
Because we already had the end of the TNG, like the proper goodbye. It ended the way that season 7 ended, when I'm playing poker. So how do you improve on that? If you have Terry and he writes it and he improves it, great. But it's a big risk, man.
It's a real big risk. And first of all, Stewart is talking the way Stewart talks, and if you see it between the lines, he's talking about himself. He's talking about the Picard character. He's not saying a lot about anybody else joining him. And when he does, it's just kind of like as an afterthought. It's just not good. And I'm telling you right now, you may think he has a lot of pull. I don't think he has that kind of pull anymore. Not after they screwed up season 1 and 2. I really don't.
And there's rumors that, if there's a Picard movie, he would die in that. How do you feel about that, Gray? I don't mean literally as an actor, because he is getting pretty old, man. I don't mean literally. That would be horrific. Well, but his character would die.
But that's a possibility, though, that you have to think about.
Yeah.
But killing the character, I think, would be stupid too. Why?
Yeah, look at Kirk. I have no problem with him dying. It's the manner in which he died. I mean, oh my, really? Pathetic.
Yeah. That was that was not good.
You go out in a bang. You don't go out in a whimper. And if he's going to die,
you should go out Wrath of Khan style. If that's what should have happened. But yeah, that was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
So they don't really. And again, if you think about it, Picard dying is again putting all the focus on Picard only, all the focus on Patrick Stewart only. I'm sorry. I just, let Legacy go and get some new stuff going on, and a couple of new faces and blah, blah, blah. And it should be great.
Yeah. I agree.
There is also a possibility we may not see a Legacy series. We might see a Legacy movie because it's cheaper to do.
Do you think that'll happen? I don't think that'll happen.
I would rather have a Legacy series.
They've still got the sets, Gray, so they want to make use of them.
Yeah. But remember, if you spend money on a movie as opposed to 10 or 12 episodes, in the long run, the movie's cheaper.
Of course. Yeah.
So if they did 2 TV movies and released them, let's say this is being very positive now, if they actually released 2 movies in a year, it still would be cheaper than making 10, 12 episodes. And it all comes down to who buys Paramount, somebody that has money or somebody that's going to come in and go like, we need to stay slim and trim. And so if they do, it's going to be Movie City. There's going to be no more series going on anymore, except maybe the animated because it's cheaper.
Well, Gray, there could be an in-between there that what we have as our last idea here. And that's, if you want to save some money, you're looking for more content, you can't quite commit to a whole season, but you want more than a TV movie, there is the limited run series that you can do. If you have an idea that you don't think you would get, because the thing is, I don't want just one season of a show. That would be awful. One season being, argument's sake, 10 episodes. But if you think there's a bit more legs in this idea, why don't we do a limited run series where we do like think the re-image Battlestar Galactica came out with a mini series, and it was 3 episodes long, and it was bloody fantastic. Everything blew up, and that's when they made the show afterwards because it done so well. So not only is that an idea, Gray, to fit in some smaller things like Marvel have done with their TV shows. Not great, but they've done like 5-6 episodes. You could do something that's a few episodes long, and then if it does really well, you've always got that option to pick it up and actually do a proper long series. So I'm guessing you love this idea potentially, Gray.
Yeah, I definitely would take it. I mean, if they weren't going to do one or the other, an in between would be cool. 3 episodes, 4 tops maybe, because then essentially you're having a 3 to 4 hour movie.
Yeah,
just brought to you in 4 parts or whatever.
Yeah,
makes sense. I think that would be fantastic, and they could put a lot of effort into it with good writing, and spend the money properly and stuff, and yeah, that'd be great.
Do you have any? I'm putting you on the spot here. Any ideas for mini-series that you would like to see being done? Anything in Star Trek? Keep anything.
Well, I mean, if you really want to go out there, and I don't think we'll ever see this, but if you wanted to do a miniseries, do something that's completely different, and that means following maybe a different crew on a different starship and what they do. Or you could spin the Section 31 movie off into a series following different people. Maybe Michelle Yeoh may not be available, so you do other people. But that's taking a big risk, and I think right now they want to go with the tried and true. So they stick with the legacy type characters.
True.
So as much as we would want to see something like wild like that, I mean, I'm big on anthology. Look how good the anthology series does at Netflix. They have 2 or 3 or 4 different anthology series where every week, or at the most every other week, is a new episode of something totally different.
That's another idea, though, Gray. That isn't even a mini-series, like you say. It's anthology, so you could have something different every. But that's almost like a what if for Star Trek. Imagine having a what if in Star Trek.
Well, imagine like if it was an anthology, okay, you could do 1 show or maybe 2 on Captain April, who's the one that commanded the Enterprise first.
Limited run series in April, yes.
We've never seen him. We only hear that he was the first captain of the Enterprise, but you only see him a little bit in a
handful of appearances,
Strange New Worlds and whatever.
And I liked what I saw of him initially. He's a hard ass. I like that.
Right.
He was the original rule breaker.
And also, even though, well, George Takei is getting pretty old, but let's just say you wanted to follow the adventures of Worf. What did he do on the E? We heard about stuff in the series. So
a Captain Worf series, yes.
Yeah, I mean, so an anthology thing could do all kinds of stuff. You could go wild.
But if you don't do anthology and you just do standalone ideas,
of course. I mean,
Captain Worf.
Look, exactly. If they're just going to do a movie, period, and not do maybe a mini-series, but if they're thinking about movies and just trying to pump out movies, hell yeah, it's like see a Captain Worf movie and a Captain Sulu movie and a whatever. And if you paced it and you created it correctly and planned your budgets appropriately, then eventually you're ramped up to where you could have 3 or maybe 4 movies a year. And each one would be whatever, a Worf movie, and then 3 months later followed by a Captain Sulu show, and then a movie, and then again, it can definitely be done if you pre-plan. Just like when they go out to shoot what was it, Dune? They did shoot I think they shot Dune part 2 and 3. But there's been other examples of movies going all the way back to back.
There's going to be a part 3 of Dune? Oh, hell yes.
Well, or
Dune 2,
I don't know.
maybe, yeah. Oh.
But even remember going all the way back to Back to the Future, which I think might have been the first movies that did that. They filmed 2 and 3 together.
Yeah.
So if you really plan it properly, you could save some money and definitely just have these movies come out. And I almost would rather, if there's money problems, I almost would rather see a good Star Trek movie every 3 months than a series, because you could put the effort and time into it.
Yeah.
And you'd always be looking forward, because every quarter you would see another Star Trek movie. That'd be so cool. Because now we're waiting 2 years. I mean, think about it. You're waiting right now like a year to 2 years just to see a second season of the show.
Oh, God, don't get me started.
Ridiculous.
Although, the one exception to that, though, was that, on a tangent massively here, that Halo Season 2 that I started watching, first 2 episodes.
Don't tell me anything.
No, I won't. Very decent so far. That was 10 or 11 months in between seasons, not even a year. That's how you do it, guys. That's how you do it. Stop being tight arses. Jesus. No, great. I do like that idea. It's the one that's least likely to happen because of budget reasons and whatnot. They'll make them TV movies instead of limited run series instead. But I would love to, in an ideal world, see things like that. A Captain Warshaw, it could be called What Happened to
Today's
the
a
E.
good day to die.
Oh no! Hey, that's even better. I was being very slapstick when I said, let's call it What Happened to the E. Or A Good Day to Die would be great. A Good Day to Die, and it would focus on what happened to the E. Just 3-4 episodes long, that would be magic. I love Michael Dorn would love to do a Captain War series. I know he would. Another idea could be not Section 31. I can't remember what they're called. The timeline,
21.
where they go back to forwards and backwards in time. The time cops. Time cops.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They were shown they were shown in Voyager. They were shown in Enterprise. I think they were at their best in Enterprise because it was a whole arc with the Suliban and whatnot. To see a limited run series for that would be ideal. If they're not going to do Legacy, maybe a Captain 7 show. I mean, generally the world's your oyster, or the galaxy's your oyster here. There's so many ideas. Don't think we'll see them, which sucks, but we can dream.
I wouldn't say never, because right now when they're cost conscious, and again, if they plan properly, it could actually end up working in their favor if they did movies. But we'll see.
But that'll be the one every 2 years, Gray, won't it? That's the thing. They wouldn't.
No, if that's the case, then forget it. I mean, but I would rather them, if they really, really, truly put their minds to it and figured it out, you could build up a proper timeline. So you could have at least 3 a year, if not 4. But you got to do it properly and correctly. Look, what years ago, and maybe even now, but I remember years ago that when made-for-TV movies was a big deal. They were pumping these suckers out like all the time, almost like episodes. It didn't take that long.
I've just had a great idea. You'll thank me.
Okay.
We'll never see it. I love Avery Brooks, right? I got to love Cisco more, like I did with Deep Space. When I watched Deep Space Nine, I thought, this is crap. I mean, where's the starships, man? Come on. Like, it got better when the Defiant came in my opinion. Sure. And later on in life, I look back at it more fondly now because it was a lot better than I gave it credit for. We won't see Avery Brooks again, but, because he's a bit, unfortunately, cuckoo.
Yeah,
but
something.
I would love to see him come back, to see what happened with him. He is now the god type character and what happened to him, or take it back and recast him. Now that's controversial, I know. Recast him and a younger version. Do you know what we're going to call it? Defiance, because we have 2 Defiants here, and this will be a limited run series where he was involved in designing the Defiant for the Borg threat. So you could have Borg in it again, probably not. I mean, we're sick of them now, but this could be designing the Defiant and launching the Defiant and using it a little bit as a little prequel of another Avery Brooks or another Cisco, or let's say he comes back with the wormhole gods. So many ideas. So little time, but I'm like Gray. I would rather see this than the limited.
That would be cool.
Than the series that we've been watching, where Strange New Worlds, they had a few episodes that were awful. There was just 2-3 episodes that were god awful, and I'm thinking, this is a third of the season you've ruined. So save your money, like Gray says, and put it into a TV movie where it's either good or bad, because. The series is, you can break it down into episodes and rank them, but a movie's just good or bad, that's it. So, a lot to think about, but certainly we'll wrap it up there. But if people have got ideas of shows and stuff they want to see in Star Trek, or any specials in Star Trek you want us to talk about and cover, because bear in mind, we are a podcast, so we just like talking about Star Trek. We would do it offline anyway, but we may as well just record two mates talking about Star Trek. And of course, I should probably do this at the start, but the usual kind of quick call to arms. So my man here, Gray, has a show as well.
Wait, before you do that, what about
Sure.
a Captain Quark movie? Only kidding.
Captain Quark. Quark?
Only kidding. No,
No, we're moving on from that. No.
Yeah.
You just sit in your corner quietly. Jesus. Yeah, so we're going to wrap up there. My man Gray does have a show as well, a podcast as well called Gray's Green Room, which will eventually be getting around to doing a special, and we'll probably mention the whole Paramount thing as well because it's kind of relevant. He can be found at Gray's Green Room on the YouTube, the podcasting platforms, and the Twitters. And don't forget, we do a gaming podcast with our friend and colleague Nick. And if there'll be a link below, but if you also search as well for Extreme Gaming Podcast, you'll get a nice Discord link below as well. That takes you to there. The reason we say that is because we do a gaming pod every week. You can tune in for that. There is a server in there, a channel in there for the Trekway, and there's one in there for Gray's Green Room. So everything all in the one place. So the Discord link's your best place to go, and we can talk Star Trek, we can talk entertainment, we can talk gaming, our three loves in our lives. And we will be back in a couple of weeks for another episode. But if you have ideas on what you want to talk about Star Trek, let us know, and we'll do that. So yeah, Mr. Gray, thank you for coming along, mate. Until the next time, do your thing.
Live long and prosper, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.